Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wednesday, April the 3rd, and welcome to our Power Up on this beautiful day. I hope it's a beautiful day. It's a little early still, but I think it's going to be a nice day. I think we'll get a little bit of rain. They're saying maybe a little bit of snow overnight here. I don't know, all that good stuff, but it's another day in which to be alive, another day in which to live for the Lord, worship the Lord, and look forward to being able to do so today. I don't know wherever you're watching from. Here we had kind of a windy night at our house. We had power go out middle of the night there. Don't know how things are your way. And for some, there may still be some power outages here in the area. I don't know. With trees being blown down, we had a couple in our neighborhood go down and so on. And so hopefully whenever you're watching this, hopefully you're doing well and all that good stuff there. Daniel chapter number 5 is where we're at. Daniel chapter number 5. Let's go ahead and look at verse number 17. We've really kind of slowed down as we've gotten into chapter number 5 here, and there's just a lot of truths for us to learn, life lessons for us to learn as well. So don't want to miss any of these, and so hopefully it's been a blessing. Daniel chapter 5, we were introduced to a new ruler in Babylon. His name is Belshazzar, and Belshazzar's had a vision, a dream. Well, not a vision or a dream, but he's seen the writing on the wall. And you might remember he's taken the vessels that were stolen from the house of God, and he's taken them and perverted them and used them for his drunken feast. And God has written on the wall. And Belshazzar has summoned all of his magicians, astrologers, wise men, and summoned them in. Hey, what's going on? What does this mean? No one could tell the meaning thereof. The queen comes in and says, hey, I remember a guy named Daniel, a Jewish man who has been renamed Belteshazzar, and he helped out King Nebuchadnezzar. King Nebuchadnezzar had a couple of dreams, and Daniel was able to interpret them. Maybe he can interpret what the handwriting on the wall is. And so let's look at verse number 17. So Daniel chapter number 5, verse number 17, Belshazzar says that he will reward Daniel if he can give the interpretation thereof. Let's look. Verse 17. Then Daniel answered and said before the king, let thy gifts be to thyself, and give thy rewards to another, yet I will read the writing unto the king and make known to him the interpretation thereof. We see the humility of Daniel. Daniel basically saying, hey, this isn't me. I am not one that has the ability. It's not me that gives the interpretation, so I do not deserve the reward. He says, give it to somebody else. I am not in need of it. Yeah, I'll give you, very humbly, I'll give you the interpretation thereof, and God will give it to me. Verse 18, O thou king, the Most High God gave Nebuchadnezzar thy father a kingdom, and majesty, glory, and honor. And for the majesty that he gave him, all people, nations, and languages trembled and feared before him, whom he would he slew, and whom he would he kept alive, and whom he would he set down, and whom he would he put down. Now get this, verse number 20. And Daniel here kind of giving a history of Nebuchadnezzar and that. Verse number 20, but when his heart was lifted up and his mind hardened in pride, that's Nebuchadnezzar. You remember, Nebuchadnezzar came in and says, hey, look at the kingdom I've built. He was lifted up in pride. But when his heart was lifted up and his mind hardened in pride, he was deposed from his kingly throne. And they took his glory from him, and he was made a beast, and you remember that. He was driven from the sons of men, verse number 21. And his heart was made like the beast, and his dwelling was with the wild asses. They fed him with grass like oxen. And his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till he knew that the Most High God ruled in the kingdom of men, and that he appointeth over whomsoever he will. So Nebuchadnezzar, or not Nebuchadnezzar, but Daniel giving this history lesson of King Nebuchadnezzar, the greatness of his kingdom, the pride of Nebuchadnezzar. It just reminds Belshazzar that, hey, Nebuchadnezzar recognized, and the hard way, recognized who God is. And that it's God that sets up kingdoms, takes down kingdoms. It's God that appoints rulers and takes down rulers, okay? And so Daniel giving this history lesson here to Belshazzar. And he says in verse 22, "And O thou, his son, O Belshazzar, hast not humbled thine heart, though thou knewest all this." So Belshazzar can't claim ignorance on this. He knew what Nebuchadnezzar had gone through, what Nebuchadnezzar had declared about who God is, and really he knew about Daniel, and he had just chosen to, in his pride, to not acknowledge God. He was built up in pride, and Daniel calls him out for it. It says, "Thou hast not humbled thine heart." And so Belshazzar is going to learn the hard way about what is going on here, or what about this writing on the wall. He continues in verse 23, "But hast lifted up thyself against the Lord of heaven. And they have brought the vessels of his house before thee, and thou and thy lords, thy wives, and thy concubines have drunk wine in them. And thou hast praised the gods of silver, gold, of brass, iron, wood, stone, which see not, nor hear, nor know. And the God in whose hand thy breath is, and whose are thy ways, hast thou not glorified." Daniel calls him out and says, "You've glorified every god under heaven, every god that man has made up, but you haven't glorified the true God, the living God, the God that's given you life and has given you breath. You haven't glorified him." Verse 24, "Then was the part of the hand sent from him, and this writing was written." And this is the writing that was written. "Mene, mene, tekel, upharsin." This is the interpretation of the thing. Mene, God hath numbered thy kingdom and finished it. Tekel, thou art weighed in the balances and art found wanting. Peres, thy kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. Then commanded Belshazzar, and they clothed Daniel with scarlet, put a chain of gold about his neck, and made a proclamation concerning him, that he should be the third ruler in the kingdom. And look at verse number 30 now. "In that night was Belshazzar, the king of the Chaldeans, slain. And Darius the Median took the kingdom, being about 62 years old." And so there's this writing on the wall. Belshazzar's works, his kingdom. God had numbered the days of his kingdom. It's over. He's weighed. He's been weighed in the balance. It's been found wanting. He's lived in wickedness and has not honored God. And God is giving Babylon to the Medes and the Persians, and we find that Belshazzar that night dies, is slain, he's killed. And Darius the Median becomes ruler. And so I just want us to, as we kind of personalize this a little bit for us today, and what are some things we can learn from this? Some humility, the danger of pride. Let's not be full of ourselves, but rather let's humble ourselves. And as we consider humility, in our humility, we recognize who God is, that God is ruler of all. He's in charge. He's sovereign. And we're here to serve him. And it's sad how many Christians choose not to serve him. And I'm not saying that we serve him in full-time ministry, but we are to be full-time Christians. And so I want to encourage you, let's live that life of humility in service to God. And let's not forget who he is, but rather recognize God for who he is. And let's serve him. We find consequences. There are consequences to our actions. For Belshazzar and his pride, the kingdom is taken from him. Nebuchadnezzar and his pride, he becomes a beast for 7 years. We note that one of Nebuchadnezzar's dreams was that image was an image, and Daniel came in, gave the interpretation of that dream, and said that that image, the head of that image was Nebuchadnezzar, was Babylon, made of gold, and he went down and described the entirety of that image, and we find what happens to that image is it completely collapses. And even the head that was beautiful, was gold, collapsed, and was really disintegrated in its destruction. And that's where Babylon is. And Babylon hasn't been the same. And then we get into the Medes and the Persians, and we see Darius's rule, and we'll note some of the things that happened with Daniel in regards to Darius's rule. All right, but we'll save that for another day, shall we? All right. Thank you so much for being on this morning, for joining us for our Power Up. Want to encourage you, hit that share button if you haven't already done so. Sorry I didn't say that earlier, but just a reminder to share. Cliff and Karen, good morning to you guys. Brian and Cindy, good morning to you guys. Ingrid, good morning to you. Love you. Have a great day. Charlie and Marcia, good morning to you both as well. David and Claudia, good morning to you both. And Jody, good morning to you as well. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Want to encourage you, we have services tonight, 6 o'clock. Be sure and be here if you can. And wherever you're watching from, if you've got a church that you attend that has a midweek service, hey, don't miss out on those midweek services. I would encourage you to be there and gain some more teaching from the Word of God. I would encourage you to be in services there. And then also, busy weekend. I know I reminded you of this yesterday. We've got the Bible quiz meet this coming Saturday. So I would encourage you to be on out for that, to come cheer our young people on. There will be a lunch afterwards, so I would encourage you to stop by and watch the quiz meet and then stick around for some lunch. It'll be a blessing. And then also, don't forget Sunday services on Sunday. And then my family and I are going to be going on vacation. We'll be leaving Sunday following service, and would encourage you pray for us as we travel. We'll be driving down to visit the in-laws in Florida there and spend some time with them. We look forward to that, so we appreciate your prayers along those lines. All right, Lord bless you all. Have a great day, everybody. We'll touch base again tomorrow morning. Let's be in prayer for our church family throughout the day. The needs, as you are aware of them, let's be in prayer for them. All right, have a great day, everybody.